Welcome to Henry & Sons. I'm Mark Henry. Today we're coming to you from our world headquarters here in Paso Robles, California. Beautiful wine country. It's been the basis of this company since its conception in 1980 that we build the best products possible to make things better, to change materials, change designs. We don't just talk about it, but we actually put it into play. We manufacture it here under roof in California, and we will prove to all of our customers that we back it up. I'm so excited to tell our story about our new zero contact double screws and housings and how we developed this whole product line and the reasons behind it. We've been manufacturing quality replacement parts for VEMAG stuffers for over 45 years. One of the biggest things with VEMAGs is the screw and housing. It's a maintenance item. It has to be sanitized every day. It's a component that a lot of people struggle with because the weight of these parts are heavy. Conventional housing that is currently in place weighs 60 plus pounds. And we've removed all the unnecessary material and we've brought that down to 30 pounds. This housing is super light. It's well crafted. With all of this technology and design, the integrity of the part is still there. The durability, the longevity, everything is still there, just minus the weight. Like I said, take your conventional housing and try to do this. You're gonna really struggle because you guys all know these things are a beast. They're in wet conditions, they're greasy, they're slippery. People can drop them on their toes and their feet, damage the parts. And employee safety is at the forefront these days. And we really, really acknowledge that, and we put that in your hands. With our zero contact design, the thought behind our concept was to reduce the wear and reduce the friction, which builds up heat and increases temperature rise through the equipment. Most products are pressure sensitive, so we keep those pressures very balanced and consistent. So what I like to say is, with a conventional set of double screws and housing, you put the parts in when they're brand new, all of your tolerances are nice and tight, weights are good. And as those double screws grind on the housing, I like to explain it as a wear triangle, okay? When the parts are brand new, you're at the tip of the triangle, your weights are all perfect, and as those parts wear, your weights continue to get further and further and further apart until the speed is maxed out on the machine and somebody says, okay, we're giving too much product away. Not only are you replacing these expensive parts, but you're giving all that product away. So you have the cost of the parts, and then you have the cost of all that product that you gave away as those parts are increasingly becoming more and more worn. So many customers have come to us for years asking, Mark, how do we make these parts last longer? Some customers are replacing a screw and housing every month, like a pepperoni, a high pressure application, very cold product. Small horn develops a tremendous amount of pressure. And with that pressure, the double screws, I'm going to show you, this is an old conventional OEM set of screws. The pressures actually take the screws and they push upward. As you can see, these parts are very worn out. You see how big these air gaps are right here. When you get these big air gaps, your weight consistencies go away. You cannot hold weight targets. So the forces push the screw up in the housing and outward towards 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. And that's how these parts wear. This here is our Gen 2 original cross-tie design. We call it a snowman because when you hold it like that, it looks like a snowman. So this actually has 2 contact points, and we call this a 2-point cross-tie. So we simply push it into some pockets here and it locks down, and then we use a shouldered bolt, which this is your sacrificial part. Very inexpensive to change this when it wears instead of the expensive double screws and housing. Goes in just like that. And this is a great design for light to medium duty applications. The original design is, it just floats. This screw just flops around in the housing, and the forces push it outward against the housing, causing the wear, causing the heat. And with this very simple device, we're able to contain all of those forces. And we've simply taken this Gen 2 design and we've made it substantially better for higher pressure, higher volume processors, high-speed ground beef, cold products. This is our Gen A four-post cross tie design. And as you can see as well, we've taken the bolts and we've improved them substantially. Yeah. Just across the board. This part will handle so much more load and so much more opposing force from a radial aspect, that this is the proven winner with any high pressure or high volume application. It's just, we have years now worth of data and we've really had zero issues. With the Gen A design, every processor that's put this in their plant, right here, this combination, if they have more than one machine, they purchase this for every machine that they have because they see the return on investment. They see a substantial increase in their product appearance. They give leaps and bounds less product away. Again, these are very simple components to install, uninstall, sanitize, measure. Very simple design. It's a true game changer. So we've been manufacturing our zero contact double screw setup now for about 5 years. We have probably close to 200 sets out there in the field running. Some of our first double screws and housings are zero contact, that is. When we put those in, they've been running for 3-4 years, no problem. We have a very large customer that actually uses a inline grinder. They were using conventional parts. It was actually the male polygon grinder. Their giveaway was between 7 and 10% using conventional parts. That's their typical wear cycle with those parts. We put our zero contact polygon double screw and housing in place, and we took that giveaway to less than 0.5%. So the consistency was right here. So with our zero contact parts, we don't have a wear triangle because it's always consistent. We're keeping everything supported and those parts are happy and they're not grinding on themselves. I'm going to give you some annual numbers to really maintain these parts. So cast iron, you're going to have to replace regularly. So an annual cost for all cast iron parts, you're looking at probably $20,000 of parts per year. All stainless steel conventional is going to run you $12,000 a year. Zero contact ergo housing is going to run you about $3,500 a year. And that's putting into perspective the cost of the parts and the longevity of the parts, how long they're going to last. A big challenge with smear is you're putting a very delicate muscle and fat combination through a very mechanized piece of extruding equipment. Anybody that's doing a fresh product, a sausage, you want to have very defined particulate definition in your sausage, for example. When you stuff out your sausage, it looks like a soap stick. It's all just opaque, greasy looking sausage. But the key is you have to keep those air gaps to an absolute minimum because this is a pumping mechanism. So do you want to go through that wear cycle and then have the quality of your product constantly decreasing, going down with wear on the double screw and housing? Or do you want your product quality to be consistent on a nice straight line? Every day you're going to get the same consistent, high quality, great looking product to put in the retail case. And that's another reason why the zero contact is a huge asset to anybody that does a product type like that. Most people are always very conscientious on temperature rise going through the VEMAG, going through the AC30. Mark, how do we keep the temperature rise to a minimum? Well, with our zero contact, you don't have all that metal to metal contact. So a typical conventional set of double screws and housing is probably going to put, depending on the application, it's probably going to put 4 to 5 degrees of temperature rise going through just the vacuum filler. Now, with our zero contact technology, we take that temperature rise to 1 degree. We reduce it substantially because we don't have all that friction of all that metal to metal contact. As these conventional parts wear, that metal is coming off. It ends up in the product. So we really minimize that, almost eliminate it completely, thus giving you a longevity of your parts and the performance, and your weight consistency is always here. One of the biggest things with extruding through a vacuum filler is weight control. And the weight control is everything. And that's where you're really going to notice your return on your investment, is that consistency with weight control. I have a lot of customers ask me, Mark, why the stainless steel zero contact? And it's really my objective in my lifetime to completely abolish cast iron from the food processing world. You got rusty cast iron that's going to continue to rust, and you have to maintain it with mineral oil. After you clean it up, you got to get the water off of it immediately, or you can watch it rust. The all stainless steel combination just makes all the sense in the world from a sanitation standpoint and a part longevity standpoint. It's going to last you considerably longer. The wear characteristics on our parts, I mean, far exceeds cast iron. You know, cast iron has its place, but not in the food industry. I'll give you a few examples of some of the industries we've made a huge impact in. We have a large customer that processes ground turkey. Their giveaways on weights it averaged about 7% fluctuation. We were able to take that average 7% giveaway down to less than half of 1%. We have a very large cheese customer. They had massive weight fluctuations. They were overspeeding their VMAGs. And once we put the zero contact design in, everything was consistent, day in, day out. A lot of companies out there struggle with pizza dough. It's a very viscous product. They have to hit their marks on weights. Every target on weight control has been achieved with our zero contact. Many pet food companies actually run a percentage of bone in their product, and that bone is like sand. It's like sand in your product, and it's very, very abrasive. And here again, the zero contact holds up extremely well. Instead of replacing those expensive parts, you just have your small maintenance items right here. Your cross tie and the bolts, and everything else. It continues to give that very consistent output. This is a commonly asked question. Can I install a zero contact double screw into a conventional housing? And the answer to that is no. The housing and the double screw are manufactured specifically for our patented zero contact devices. So it has to be purchased as a set. Why would a processor choose our zero contact Ergo double screw and housing? Very simply, every one of our customers that have experienced this setup, they get an ROI on these parts within 6 to 8 months. You got to be able to hit those weight targets consistently every day, and that transfers into profits for your company. So anybody that uses a VEMAG vacuum filler can absolutely benefit from this technology. It can be this good. We have 100% satisfaction guarantee across the board. If you want to try a set of these, we'll put them in your plan for a 30-day test, and if they're not everything that we state, we'll take them back. We're willing to work with you and show you how good this technology is and where it's going to really save you money in your pocketbook. The concept here at Henry & Sons has been all along, is to make a better part at a better price, putting Americans to work, and being passionate about it. And we do have the ability to change things, to make things better, to change materials, change designs. We don't just talk about it, but we actually put it into play. We manufacture it here under roof in California, and we will prove to all of our customers that we back it up. All you gotta do is make a call or send us an email, and we will get these parts into your facility and prove it to you.